everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry podcast. I'm your host, Charli K. Matthews, and I love, and am excited every single week to bring y'all somebody new. It's fun to say that. I've been picking up on how many times I've used the word excited, but our industry is awesome. I have some really great partners, and today, a industry veteran, I'll say, Kevin, jump on here and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. Kevin Morrison, Director of Sales and Marketing for EBARA Pumps Americas Corporation. We are in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and support all of the U.S. For pumps and other items they may need for their projects.
Yes, and I've actually been to that facility. I loved it. I love walking through there at Rock Hill, and I'm sure it's changed since I've been there. But I've met you at several different SWAPA events. So that is the Submersible Wastewater Pump Association for y'all. I know we've talked about them before, but tell us a little bit about first, like how you got into this pump industry. Anyway.
So I have a interesting entrance to the industry, I guess. I started in when I was 10. But if I'm really going to be truthful, I was born into it. My godparents owned a well drilling business or a borehole drilling business. My parents started in the 70s, purchased it in 1990. So when I was in the 80s, when I was 10, I actually started working in the summers. And in 14, I went on a payroll officially every summer and working Saturdays and doing the field work, actually going out seeing the customers, digging the ditches, crawling under houses, whatever they needed. By 16, my parents would go on vacation and I was running the company. So for a week, if they went away for a week. So that was kind of my start into how I got into pumps. I was literally born. Yes.
Yes, well, as an entrepreneur and, my kids, I've used them for marketing materials in the past, and I haven't gotten them, my boys, to kind of engage with me fully. But Carly, she wants to take over my business, so that's been fun. But to your point, like you are kind of just all in at that point, and
Yeah.
I love to see that kind of leadership early on is like that trustworthiness that they're like, okay, we can leave. He's got it. He's got it under control. And so such an important piece of this, the well drilling. And I don't think that we cover that enough in our space. Tell us a little bit more about that process.
So from our side of the business, we were predominantly a residential supplier. So we were drilling for new homes, irrigation systems, and so forth. And it really varies regionally. It's a product that a bar does offer. We don't currently offer it in the U.S. as a standard product, but internationally, since a bar being a very large corporation, they do offer it in other regions. In the U.S., we have a pretty extensive network already. And it's a very different path to market than we are now. So it's a little different from what we do.
Okay, so
But
you're
it
born
is a vi-
into it.
you know,
Yeah, so you're born into it. You've worked there. You're basically like running things. Then what's the next step of that?
Next step of that, I finished high school. My parents sent me to college. I was one of the first in our family to go to a 4-year school. I actually graduated from the University of South Carolina with a bachelor's of science in geophysics. I was going into the geology side of it, oil industry. That was my first intent when I
Did you bring
graduated.
did you bring rocks home all the time? Or is this
Just a few.
because my daughter, she does this all the time. She kind of, she's either digital media and crafty or she is all about the rocks. So I love hearing this story.
So yeah, that's how I got into it. Kind of coincided. That's kind of what piqued my interest on the geology side. Is when we're doing the boreholes, we're actually drilling through the surface of the earth. So I was seeing, okay, this is brown, this color's blue, this color's green, this color's orange. Why is it changing? That was kind of from my young age. I kind of always wonder, why does that color change? And then you start learning the different stratas and different layers we're working through. And again, I was only seeing a very small region, honestly, for what the rest of the world looks like. But I've had the benefit of seeing other areas as well when work was being done.
So that's kind of the fascination part of getting you into this career. You've graduated from the university and you step into a role. Where are you at this point?
I actually came back to the family business full time. Uh, Business was booming. I graduated in 2000. We were leading right up to, it was crazy, honestly. We were about 20 people, uh, three drill rigs, two service crews, two installation crews, working 6, 7 days a week. Honestly, it was crazy nuts. My parents needed some help. So I decided to come back and work for them. And that really was good for about 10 years. And then the housing bubble in 2008, it kind of took a dive for the company. We also seen a huge growth in competition in our region in that time frame because of the massive need for new wells. And we ultimately decided as people retired or left the company, most were 10, 15, 20 years senior employees. My father chose not to replace them. So as the company got smaller, I had a decision to make to pick up the torch and restart or potentially look outside. And happen chances, I got a call from a bar, from a headhunter looking for a customer service coordinator.
And so
And
once in the pump industry, you're just here. Like you don't get to
yes,
leave. So I know the rest of that story. But tell us, okay, as you go, you're in a different role now, but tell us about that and kind of that learning and kind of progression there at Ibarra.
so I started in a bar, came in again as a customer service agent in 2015, January. And I've had a couple of quick steps. In about 8 months, I moved in application engineering. I had a fairly extensive background in pumps, pump curves. So I was fielding calls right out the gate, basically. So I was like, okay, he's a little more talented than customer service. I think they just kind of give me a starting point, which I thought was good, actually. Let me learn a lot about the company itself. Worked in applications for 3 to 4 years, moved over into product management for 2 years. And that was a new role the company started for us here in the States. All the product managers prior were outside of the US. And then it gets a little quicker then. I took over the as sales manager for the East Coast in late 2021 for 9 months. And then we had an opportunity to take over operations at the factory. So I took over as director of operations for 10 months. And then I took over the director of sales last June of 23. So this is the longest stint in a while for me, which this is my home. I'm a sales guy. I'm a honestly, I'm truly an application engineer. That's my favorite thing to do is solve people's problems. So, but I do get to do that and kind of help the company move forward as well.
Absolutely, and that's what I saw, the growth and the way like, you see these changes as companies are growing and shifting, and so, your knowledge there and kind of what I see, that technical knowledge has given you that benefit of being able to move, and, anytime I don't know my teams, we're constantly shifting around, different roles, but as we grow, we're able to do that and put you in the position to make the company most effective. And so I love that you kind of have those skills and can kind of see the overall operations, but hey, we got to grow. So let's put our Kevin in that spot, and let's get into building relationships and having that like technical side of things too. So solving problems, absolutely love that. And I just as you're talking too, I'm just thinking about that path to get to sales in our industry.
Right.
I think it's a unicorn, that technical salesperson, but it could come from either side. You could start in sales and move technical, or you can start in technical and move sales. So, I
100%
love,
agree.
yeah,
That's the beauty of our market is that it's actually an established pumps are established. There's not a lot of advancements in the pumps themselves. There's advancements in the technologies that drives our pumps. Hydraulics, yes, you can make the impeller a little bit better. You can make a slight change to the casing and get a little more efficiency here. But when it boils down to ultimately electronics and motors and other apparatuses that you can't have a pump without, seem to be the driving factor of our knowledge and what we can do with the pumps.
yeah, and that's going to be continue to be very critical of that
Hmm.
understanding. I remember thinking like the mechanical engineers and the electrical engineers that kind of were like in separate groups back in the day. That is not possible anymore. We have to communicate
No,
across the board. Yeah. Well, I'm interested to watch this journey. I love it, and seeing kind of where we're going, where you're going. Hopefully, you're stationary for a little while, but you never know. But
I'm
there's
not moving.
okay.
I
So
hope.
he's good. Don't shift. But then also the work that you do with SWAPA. Let's talk a little bit about that. I know you're active there. Your company's active
Yep.
there. Um, what do you think about SWAPA?
Swap, I think, is a great organization. They bring a lot of value to the industry, and honestly, we need more people involved in it. There's a tried and true people involved, and they're always active. But getting new people on board has been harder to do. I would say you get you guys that come in and do your trainings, and Swappa does a fantastic job for that, for your operators and so forth. But actually, people getting involved from our side of the business, the manufacturer side of the business, to support Swappa through their different initiatives that are honestly there to support us and growth in the country and in our business. So it's vital for an organization like that to work with.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of market information that is shared, and we can understand where things are going if we can collaborate on that, and really just add that benefit to the pump industry as a whole. I think that that's really important. So if y'all, well, I will do this. I'll put it in the show notes, a link to Swappa so they can check it
Yep,
out. Um, as far as kind of manufacturers. They also have associate manufacturers. I mean, I love being a part of it as a media brand, and kind of
right.
shining the light there. And then we are going to have at Epic, so that's the Empowering Pumps
Yes,
Industry Conference. That's going to be November the 12th and 13th at the Colorado School of Mines. I'm so excited about it, and I've loved it. I've loved being able to work with SWAPA on the technical side. Thankfully, we have the women of SWAPA jumping in and saying yes to that. So excited about that, and seeing some of those technical presentations, but also SWAPA as a whole being represented there. Um, so y'all check that out. Make sure that you support that. What
for
else,
sure.
Kevin? Do you want to dive into this and kind of where we're going in the industry, this digital side of things? I'm excited to hear about this.
Yeah, it's the digital side is very interesting for us. And EBARA, again, like I said earlier, is a very large corporation globally, and the U.S. market is completely different than a lot of the other markets. We want things our way. Is the simplest
In
way
the
to put
U.S.?
it. In the U.S.,
Yes.
most definitely. We do similar to the European markets. Don't get me wrong, but as far as advancements, pushing the envelope, we typically are driving more that than a lot of the other countries that I've seen to work with. Are It's actually sometimes a challenge to express, "Hey, we need this, but why?" We don't see this anywhere else in the world other than the US. Why is it necessary? And that's a challenge sometimes for advancement of what we need to do here in the US to support the customers to meet all those requirements.
Yeah.
So
Well, the
that's where it's
standard.
important having a strong team to lead and guide and understand that from our side.
Okay. And there is, we work with, different organizations setting standards and trying to kind of see that overall. But I love that kind of questioning. Is this the most effective way that we're doing business? Yeah. I mean, that's what we want to be talking about. And, again, kind of going back to Epic, bringing these emerging leaders with our experienced professionals together. I'm really excited about that type of conversation. So, Kevin,
Right.
having y'all support there is awesome. Uh, because otherwise, if we're not talking about it, then things aren't going to get solved.
It
Problem
exactly.
solved is what we need, right?
We need problem solving, not kicking the can, the
Mhm.
proverbial can. There's a lot of things that we could improve on in the industry as well. And, just training of knowledge base. In fact, one thing in software we're fighting constantly is the rags and flushables that everybody markets. I mean, it's just the marketing people have done a fantastic job from that industry to make a really big hindrance for the municipalities and those trying to get clean water, take sewage and make clean water back in the system. So those are challenges we face. It comes back to education. And but if we're not helping drive those initiatives, then we're just continually fighting the battles over and over again.
Yeah, and I think that that's important across the board is to actually communicate, right? We do this in sales and marketing all the time, trying to get that message out there. And I know the industry as a whole, the water industry, um, we got to get better at that. Better communication, better materials to be able to share that. And I think part of that's coming together, like you said, coming together and making sure that we collaborate on some of these top sustainable type practices. I am curious because I'm kind of going back to your fascinations with the rocks. Do you have that like environmental side of you, still today, or is it kind of something else driving you?
Um, Not as much as it was in the past. More it was more of a fascination on how the earth was is made up. That was my initial fascination into it. Um, honestly, I don't want to. It's kind of hard, bad to say, but as a sales guy, our goal is winning, and some oftentimes winning. It's this. This is a passion of mine. It's like I need the next win. I need the next win. I need the next win. I was saying an environmental side is key to our global economy and growth and protection of the earth. Those are definitely vital things we need to be involved in. I wouldn't say right now at this moment is my driving factor. Driving this company to success is my number one goal. I'm all in a bar blue. So that's where all most of my efforts are going right now is growing a bar in the market and providing products to the market that they need to move forward.
I like it. We can't actually take care of those customers if we're not trying to win for them. So that's what we want. We want growth mindset. We want to be, definitely performing at our highest game.
Yes,
That excellence that's there. But also, we know we're not perfect. We can improve. And so y'all, as we're moving through this, and that's the goal, getting that support from others. So I've heard a lot of that, within these organizations and the need for people. We definitely need more people in our industry.
yes,
Um, how, I mean, the questions we've been asking about the pump industry for years is just how to attract talent, right? How do you make
exactly.
manufacturing sexy, which is attracting talent, right? How does that happen? And I think it's communicating on some of those bigger, more exciting issues.
Yes,
Well,
yes. I actually had the pleasure. I had a group of young men in last week from one of our distributors. They were doing a fantastic job of hiring interns for their local location. Had interns from Georgia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, all working within their offices. And the owner wanted to send them up to see the factory. And I was like, okay, I'll be glad to bring them up, give them a quick tour. But in all honesty, they were all mechanical engineers. They have all been working all summer as application engineers, doing quoting, project spec review. Some more have done it more than 1 year. But it was very awesome to see the enthusiasm they all had because we sat down, had a Q&A at the end, and all their questions were, what's life like in this industry? They already know the technical side. So, we kind of went through that, just try to explain the value we get out of it, the success we can get out of it. And we're always constantly helping people. You think you're helping one person, but when you're getting water or you're getting rid of the sewage at some point, it's just getting away, you're actually keeping us sustained and keeping everything clean and proper. So when you think you're working for one, you're actually working for many to solve their problems.
ooh, I like that. That might just be the title there. That's good stuff right there. But I'm from what you said, I think they get this training in school and that knowledge, and then they're, doing the work and a lot of administrative type tasks. And then you like actually put them in a plant or a lab or something hands on, and it's just magic happens there, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, they were lit up. It was really good. I was quite impressed to see, and actually, it was just enlightening because it's a concern. We don't see a lot of young people coming into our industry, at least not in our particular region. Maybe it's better than others and others. I will say at trade shows, I do see a shift to a younger group. I also see a huge shift, which I think is awesome, to a lot more women coming into the industry. I think that's impressive. Um, that's typical, not so typical in our industry too. It's been more male dominated, but you're just looking at it, you're missing a large talent pool if you're and I think it's just getting into the industry is not hard. It's just understanding how you fit into it. And once you get into it, you can't get out of it. You're in it for life, and that's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, and I think it's because there's so many different opportunities. We can shift and change and adjust and still be in industry. And I mean, I love it. I absolutely love it. And so I understand the fascination with the equipment and industry and how things work and how that excites people. It excites me, and I
Yeah.
graduated business and finance. So who knew where I was going to be? But so that's what we want to create. Kevin, I want to just kind of give you one last word here. Anything else that you want to leave our audience with?
Yes. Again, we're here to serve and provide products for you and your customers. So please reach out to us at pumpsabara.com. That's our website. We have a selection of software is completely available to the public as well. So those are all be helpful and available to you. Um, you know, ultimately, I just appreciate the company itself here. They have given me an opportunity to succeed as well in the industry. Giving back to the industry is what I'm trying to do now. Trying to be more involved with our organization, SWAPA, Hydraulic Institute, and so forth. These are critical aspects to help grow. It's not just a company anymore. It's a collaboration of people. I also really appreciate you having me on today. It was a pleasure. I've watched you come up as well as we said. We've met at many different conferences over the years. It's always a pleasure to see you as well. So I greatly enjoy your time. We get to share those few moments throughout the year.
Yeah, me too, Kevin. And thank you for being a leader. You stepped into that role early on, it sounds like, and you just keep leveling up. So great example there for all of us on what we can do, what we can achieve here in industry. I'm excited too. I'm excited to share this episode, get people to know who you are. Some of us kind of go in those little conference bubbles, if you will. So being able to share your story and that you're focused on taking care of the customer for EBARA. So thanks for that. And thanks for your leadership. And thanks for all of you for joining in. And until next time, be empowering.